What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Boleros. Sam here with Gab and Maui. We're back. Say hello, boys.
Yeah, back to back.
Back to back recordings, but we will be posting these separately. So, not sure when we'll be posting this particular episode, but hopefully you are enjoying your holiday or your break, or you get to spend time with your family and loved ones. Pero tuloy-tuloy pa rin ang UAAP talk natin, Boleros talk natin. So for today's episode, we're going to do a new segment. We're just gonna call this or that. So you can see in the title, this or that. I will be asking Gab and Maui a question. They will choose between two options and then explain their answer. Pretty simple, pretty straightforward. Let's get right into it. Let's start. This or that. More inconsistent team. Ateneo or Lasal? So we've been talking about Lasal, especially nung initial start of the first round. Inconsistent. They would do big leads and then habulin sila ng UP. Also lost to Ateneo that way. But Ateneo naman, in terms of inconsistency, they win 2 games or they win a good game, they lose a bad game, win twice, lose twice. More inconsistent team. Let's go with you, Maui.
Very hard question, but probably because of recency bias, I would have to say it has to be Ateneo. Both teams have very high ceilings. You see Ateneo going head-to-head with UP in 2 games. I think so far they've done a really good job versus UP. They won the first game, they lost the second game, but it was a nail-biter also. But they also lost against FEU twice. I think that just shows the inconsistency of this team. I think if you actually, I was talking to them off air. If you're actually tracking yung statistical points ng Ateneo during the season, I think I mentioned during previous episodes that Ateneo had probably the second or the third top offense. They're now at the bottom of the top offenses in the UAAP, only second to to FEU. So definitely, I think Ateneo has been the most inconsistent team. It's not just in the stats. I think it's also you can see naman the players. The stars of Ateneo have not been consistent. At least with Lasal, you know what you're gonna get with Evanelli and Cambao. With Ateneo, you can have a Chris Kuhn 22 point game, then and a 0 point game. With Ateneo, you can also have that with Balungay. Balungay can have 19 points, 14 rebounds, and then the next game have 6 points and 4 rebounds. I think it really starts to the stars, which is why Ateneo has been very inconsistent. If they don't get those stars going, then anything can happen. They can lose to, UST went toe-to-toe with Ateneo for 3 quarters, so it's a possibility. So yeah, my answer is Ateneo.
Gab.
I look at Ateneo and Lasal, and they're different types of inconsistent. I think Ateneo is inconsistent from game to game. And Lasal is inconsistent within a game. From quarter to quarter, they're inconsistent.
Yeah.
And
Good point.
I would actually put it that for this segment, I would actually put it na I think Ateneo is the more inconsistent team because Lasal is the most consistently inconsistent team. So my pick would be Ateneo because
they've mastered it from season 85.
Ina-expect mo na inconsistent sila, basically.
Lasal kasi they don't do very well in the clutch. They do very well in the first half or in the middle of the game. They're able to build big leads when there's no pressure. They're able to play freely, get easy baskets, flashy passes, big dunks from Mike Phillips. Pero pagdating sa crunch time, and we saw this in their losses against NU, Ateneo, and UP, they cannot execute because, again, the pressure is there. They cannot run as much. They have to the game slows down. So that's, I think, the inconsistent part of their game. But in terms of game to game consistency, it's just Ateneo. I mean, when they're bad,
They're bad.
and they look bad. And as Ateneans, I'm frustrated that they look bad. And at times, they look like a championship team against Lasal, against UP. Ako parang, lalala yung lahat tayo, ito, mag-champion Ateneo, bro! Let's go! And then, as soon as that happens, the next game against FEU, oh my God. There's no way. There's no way we can even make the finals or the final four. No way. We're not making this year. We're not making it this year. So yeah, for this question, I think that's how I analyze this question. I'm picking Ateneo because of a game to game inconsistency. That's them. But if you're talking about within a game, LaSalle, they can look like the best team in the league.
They'll blow you
the
out.
First,
Actually,
they'll blow you out in the first quarter, then they'll score 3 points in one quarter though, within the same game. So that's how I look at it. Pretty interesting question though. 2 types of inconsistency for both teams.
yeah, good point, Gab. But for me, the answer is definitely Ateneo. I think though, if we were talking about last season, Lasal yung defending champion of being inconsistent. Kasi last season, they were inconsistent within the games and then yung standings nila were also inconsistent. They lost twice to UE last season. But to be fair to Lasal, they did have a lot of injuries last season. This season, you've mentioned it before, Maui. Itong Ateneo is really a roller coaster of emotions. Sabi mo nga, Gab, di ba? Parang in one game, parang, yeah, feel mo, eto na, Ateneo is gonna turn the corner, as you said, Maui.
Back to back, baby! Back to back!
Back wins, defeating the formerly undefeated
times we
team.
said, turn the corner for Ateneo this
Turn the
season
corner for Ateneo, diba? I know. So, and then 2 straight losses, losing to FEU on a buzzer beater, 3 heave from LJ, one-handed shot from LJ. So definitely, I think Ateneo has to be the more inconsistent team. Okay, next question. I love this question because we like these two guys. This or that undersized big you'd rather have? Baby Boy Manzano or Christian Manaytay? Two very different players. Yung isa back to the basket, yung isa mas face up, but both undersized in their positions. Who would you rather have? Undersized big? Gab, start with you.
Now, this is a hard one.
We love them both, to be fair. We've been praising them in the previous episode. So, sinong pipiliin?
None of them are actual rim protectors. So, I think defense is out of it. Mas face up si Baby Boy, but he gets most of his buckets by crashing the glass. I think that's more of his game. No, he does not a lot of plays get run for him. Rarely nga eh. I actually wish they would do it more. But yeah, he gets a lot of his points from putbacks, from drop-off passes. Very different from Christian Manaytay. He gets his points by a lot of isolations in the post. He has a better jump shot than Baby Boy. I think he has better footwork than Baby Boy, and a lot more crafty in the paint. He's also smaller than Baby Boy. I would actually, for this question, I would go with Christian Manaytay. I've been very impressed with him this season. The way he uses his elbows, his footwork, his up and unders, his shot fakes, so creative. I love watching this guy. Actually, if we're talking about a guy who was probably born 10 years too late, probably si Christian Manaytay yun. If he was born in the and he was playing in the UAAP in 2000, in the mid 2000s or in the late 2000s, I guarantee you he would be a star. It would be like second coming of Jervy Cruz. Jervy Cruz used to play like this. Back to the basket, just wasn't the fastest or tallest guy, but he was just so crafty in the paint. knew how to use his shoulders and his shot fakes to make space for themselves and to get buckets in the paint. And I see a lot of Jervy Cruz in Christian Manaytay. Just so happens that they play for UST, and that similarity just popped into my head. But yeah, I enjoy watching Christian Manaytay. I do believe he's the more polished offensive player than Baby Boy Melapas. But in terms of a stronger rebounder, it's definitely yung Baby Boy. But put me down for Christian Manaytay. Despite UST having uh, pitiful of a season again, he's been one of the bright spots. Maui.
Yeah,
Maui.
I would have to agree. Actually, my dad and I were talking about yesterday yung games. I was surprised when he mentioned bakit si Gio Chu hindi matuto like sa moves ni Christian Manaytay. This guy is an undersized big but he's going toe-to-toe against foreign student athletes. I think a lot of
That's
big
true.
man
That's true.
can learn a lot from Manaytay's footwork and effort on offense. But I would have to go with Cedric Manzano as my choice despite this. I just think that Cedric Manzano has matched up better than Christian Manaytay to foreign student athletes. I would probably pick Christian Manaytay if they had a foreign student athlete. Kasi, but both of those teams really don't have yung reliable FSA. But it seems like Adamson has been better prepared and has been able to handle the load of opposing teams, foreign student athletes. I don't know if it's a byproduct of the coaching staff's strategy defensively, but maybe, but with what I've seen that Manzano has been able to hold his own and definitely bully some of the smaller big man. It's a good matchup. Maybe we can look at it when they go head to head ditong second round. Then we can make a better assessment. But both of them are exciting big men. Both of them would probably be beasts if they played a decade ago. Probably Gab was right in mentioning Jervy Cruz as a comparison to Manaytay. And it's ironic that Manaytay is playing now for Coach Pido. Then maybe we can have Baby Boy Manzano as a thinner Ken Bono. Yeah. So
Oh, yeah. Grabe. Ibang
Well,
halimaw si Ken Bono, Mau.
yeah,
Ibang
ibang
pero
halimaw
halimaw.
si
medyo
Ken
Yeah.
Bono.
nagde-develop na ng tres din si
Yeah, yeah.
si Manzano.
Yeah, and si Ken Bono naman continued to improve during his UAAP career. Maybe Manzano can continue to show flashes and improve his game. But yeah, definitely both of them naman, Jervy Cruz and Ken Bono are different monsters. They were former MVPs of the UAAP, di ba?
Oo
But
naman. Oo
these
naman.
two
Oo
guys
naman.
are like the second coming of them. Uh, in
Ganda
the
na, no?
in a pace and space era, we still see big men like them. It's great. I think it's still a commodity. Someone to go to when things don't work out in your system. Definitely.
Okay, Gab, I think you mentioned it. I think this is one of the hardest questions that we have in this or that. Really, you can't go wrong with either player. I think Manaytay is the better offensive player with his footwork and his skills in the post. But I have to go with Manzano just because he's one of my fan favorites. We've talked about him before.
Grabe naman
I
kayo.
like
Ang sama na nga ng season ng UST. Hindi nyo pa rin pinili si Manaytay?
No, I
Grabe
think
naman tong mga
Manaytay is
dalawang
a
bolero na to.
better offensive player naman. Pero I like Manzano's game because he's a hard-nosed rebounder din. And as a guy who plays big sometimes, I appreciate the rebounds. Si rebounds are sexy too. Hindi lang kailangan points or mga footwork ganyan. So, I'm going with Manzano just because of that, but I think you really can't go wrong with Manaytay. Actually, napaisip ako dun sa comparison mo, Gab. Tama, pwede nga, parang Jervy Cruz. Let's go with the next one. Okay? So, talking about like players, eto naman medyo masakit, no? So, ano ang mas masakit na injury for their team? Jerome Lastimosa or Steve Nash Enriquez? Gab.
Whew. Wow, wow, wow. I was thinking about this. Yung mas masakit sa player is definitely kay Jerome because he's out for a longer period, and you know he probably lost a lot of money with that injury.
Life changing
But for the
money,
team, yeah, life changing money.
in
So
other
kung
words.
thinking about it that way, maybe I would have picked Jerome. But as a team, I think yung for the team pala, for the team meaning NU, I think it's a lot more painful for NU, the loss of Steve Nash Enriquez for this second round. And it was evident yesterday again in their game against LaSalle. They kind of missed that stable presence, the vocal leadership. It's not just that he's a stable point guard. If you look at in the huddles and in before the game or after the game, Steve Nash is kind of their vocal leader. It's kind of the Sean Ketevis for Ateneo, the guy who's in the huddle, pumping up his teammates to give instructions. Steve Nash is that guy for NU. And I thought they missed him yesterday. If they're gonna get that twice to beat advantage, which is now very crucial, LaSalle is breathing down their necks. I think that para sa akin, ang pick ko rito will be Steve Nash Enriquez because it's more painful for the team. I think they will miss him more. Uh, Out for a month, what? A month, meaning he'll probably be back Final Four, or that's being optimistic, and finals if they make it, and that's a big loss. Humamoy has to step up. Patrick, you will have to step up, and so is Don Lim. I'm picking Steve Nash. Yung kahit na yung personally yung mas masakit sa NU. For Adamson kasi they played without Jerome already for an extended period of time. I actually think they're not better without Jerome, but they know how to play na without Jerome. And they've already adjusted to playing without Jerome. Joem Sabandal has already taken on that role of being the guy in the clutch to give the ball to go one-on-one. He's already stepped into that role. I don't think you'd want to derail his development by adding a Jerome Lastimosa who is someone who demands the ball but requires the ball to have offense. So, para sa akin, mas masakit for the team, definitely Steve Nash Enriquez. Maui.
Yeah, I would have to have the same sentiments with Gab. I think this is a very difficult question because we can't really quantify right now what type of effect. Well, it's only been one game for Steve Nash, so it's hard to quantify the magnitude of losing him for probably the whole second round. On the other hand, it would also be a hard thing to quantify for Adamson if Jerome Lastimosa were healthy. I think I've been very vocal about this. I think Jerome Lastimosa is potentially a ceiling raiser for Adamson. Maybe they are a top two contender, a number two seed with Jerome Lastimosa. But then again, we can't be sure. I mean, the UAAP this season has been very crazy. We haven't really seen Jerome. He only played 8 minutes, and that game was a blowout. So we didn't see him full effects. Plus, he's clearly not healthy, which is why he even fully tore his ACL in game. But if I were to pick for this season, definitely it would be Steve Nash. NU has to figure out right now how to play without Steve Nash. I think one of the biggest strengths ng NU talaga has been having Steve Nash as that backup to Kian Baclaan. He gives Kian Baclaan that much needed breather. He gives NU not much of a negative when Baclaan sits down. Even at times, he plays better than Baclaan. Not having that option, I think, is detrimental to the team, and they will definitely feed that in the second round. Now, the question is, like Gab mentioned, who will step up to the plate? Will they be able to by committee, give enough to cover the loss of Steve Nash for potentially the second round or even the season? I think it's a big blow definitely for NU. this team is not about stars. This team is about having a magnitude of players. Different players who can play different roles. The role of Steve Nash will clearly be missed. Definitely, he should be in the bench. I think when he finally gets that surgery, they still need this voice during huddles. They still need this voice all throughout the game. The problem is they don't have that steady point guard anymore. That would be a very big blow. You can see a team like Ateneo just losing 1 point, that's getting one more point guard, probably turning the season around or even doing better. And I think that's the same case with Steve Nash. People don't, it's not even in the stat sheets. You can see the effect, in my opinion. So yeah, definitely Steve Nash. Sam.
Yeah, I agree. Has to be Steve Nash. It's only one game, pero they lost to LaSalle and it's not looking good, 'di ba? Again, we talked about this in the previous episode. LaSalle is much closer to number 2 now with that loss. With Adamson, yes, I think you said it right, Gab, no, na mas masakit talaga siya for Jerome kasi it really changed yung trajectory nung where he was going or yung next step niya in his career. But for Adamson, they were overachieving. Like, even though they didn't have Jerome basically for the whole season, he just played like a few minutes, wasn't that effective against UP. They're now sitting at number 4. So I think the loss of Steve Nash hurts more just because NU has NU also has higher expectations, which is they expect to win the championship this season. And that's why I think the loss of Steve Nash, especially during this time and given the expected return timetable of his return is like 1 month from now, that has to hurt NU's chances. Okay, next. Let's stick to point guards. This or that. Point guard that can single-handedly win games for your team. And ang tiningnan ko yung standings, nakita ko FEU, UE, tie sa standings right now. So, point guard that can single-handedly win games for your team. Ray Remogat or LJ Gonzalez? Who would you rather have? Maui, let's start with you.
That's a very hard question. Both teams probably don't win games without any of the two. But I have to
Diba?
go with
Diba?
I have to go with mahirap siya. I still have to go with LJ Gonzalez. Maybe I'm biased. This guy is more proven than Rimogat. Rimogat has definitely been the most exciting point guard for me sa UAAP. But when it comes to somebody you want to have to win, you see naman that LJ Gonzalez, well, against Ateneo, definitely, you saw a clutch LJ Gonzalez. If he gets it going during close games, then anything goes. But these 2 point guards are really good. I think both of them have very bright futures ahead of them. I expect them to probably get a chance at the very least sa KBL. Let's see. Maybe I'm just biased because I've loved LJ Gonzalez the past few years, and I'm only starting to appreciate the game of Ray Remogat this season. But I'm going with LJ Gonzalez.
Yeah, si LJ kasi yung vet, 'di ba? Last season na niya. Si Ray Remogat, he was there last season, but technically this is really his first full season. So pipili ka kung sino yung mas gusto mong guard. Gab, let's go with you.
My answer has to be Ray Remogat. For the reason that they're one in FEU, they have a lot of guards. I think they have Joric Bautista can take over, Patrick Sleet, but definitely si LJ is the best of those guards. But there are other guards, other playmakers on that team who could assume the role of LJ Gonzalez. And for second thing for FEU, I don't think LJ can single-handedly win them a game because a lot of things have to click right for FEU for them to actually be in the game in the first place. We mentioned this over and over. They have to shoot the ball better. If Cyrus Torres can shoot or Joric Bautista is cold, if both of them are cold, they're not gonna be in the game at all. So entering the fourth quarter, LJ can't do his magic because what, they're down by 15 or 20. So that's my thinking. Which why I didn't answer LJ. For Ray Mogat, I think he can single-handedly uh, win them a game, mainly because he's their only playmaker on the team. There is no one else on the team that can do what Ray Mogat does.
Actually,
And we've seen
actually,
it, diba? We've seen it throughout this season. Now, whenever Ray Mogat is out of the game, they struggle to score. Whenever yung Ray Mogat is covered or blitz, they struggle to score. But when Ray Mogat is on, they can go on runs. They're able to keep the game close. So if you're thinking na single-handedly keeping them in the game, Ray Mogat is single-handedly keeping them in games throughout the season. Just because of necessity, he's the only guy who can pass, create off pick and rolls, who can drop off passes, attract defenses. He's the only guy who could do that. So my answer is definitely Ray Mogas. But I mean, if you go down clutch time, I think mas proven si LJ and he's proven it this season. In crunch time, LJ has, well, I watched both Ateneo games and I can see it that he's a killer in the clutch. So pang clutch time, definitely yung single-handedly is LJ. But if you're talking about throughout the game, I think Ray Mogat is the guy.
Good point, Gab. I think the way I looked at it was yung crunch time being more clutch, and siguro recency bias because LJ just killed us, killed Ateneo in their last game. I'm going with LJ Gonzalez just because of the crunch time play. And I think we talked about this. LJ was injured during the preseason, so it wasn't also surprising that when LJ was just starting to get back into his groove, FEU was losing. You know, they lost four straight to start the season. When LJ finally got healthy, got a bit hot, that's when they started winning. So in terms of clutch play, I'm going with LJ Gonzalez, the vet. Definitely Ray Mogat can win an entire game for his team. I gave him a minus also because if I remember correctly, that UENU game, he gave up that game-winning shot. He had to pass it. He was covered, pero should have taken it. Be the hero for UE, but wala, hindi, talo sila sa NU. So, I'm going with LJ. Next. Okay, this is something that has been talked about in previous episodes also. More likely to get recruited abroad next year, KQ or Francis Lopez? Maui.
I think if you were to ask me, it has to be Kevin Chambao. I think yung game ni Kevin Chambao is more well-rounded than LeBron Lopez. But both of them have very huge ceilings. I think si Kevin Chambao showed what he can do with one off season. Si LeBron Lopez naman is oozing with potential. I think yung athleticism niya is the first thing that comes into my mind. But the second thing that comes to my mind is yung basketball IQ niya. I think he has shown that he can handle the rock. He has shown that he can pass the ball. He can create for others. Definitely, if he improves his handles, if he improves his lateral quickness, if he has a better outside shot, which is he's developing them. He has a mid-range shot. He has an outside shot now. I think the sky's the limit for these two. There's a reason why Francis Lopez, Francis Lopez was recruited by overtime in the first place. This is like the NBA G League equivalent. A lot of prospects from this lineup go into the NBA. He has a ceiling that is unmatched for any young Filipino, I think, right now. But based on what I've seen this season, I think si Kevin Kiambao is just more polished at the moment. I think si Kevin Kiambao is pro ready. He's leading the league in the MVP race for a reason. I mean, that could be a byproduct of his dominance because of Lasal, or because of Lopez's, because of the dominance of UP. and Lopez not getting that usage. But I think he reached si Kevin Cambao sa more polished game offensively, which will really go a long way. So yeah, definitely Kevin Cambao. I would be surprised if he still dons the Lasal jersey next season. Malaki ang nakuha niya na allowance, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, so the question was who is likely to get recruited. Now, if the question was who is likely to go pro, choose to go pro, I would actually answer Francis Lopez. Because I think he didn't come into the UAAP. I'm gonna play out my playing years, stay in UP. I think he came into the UAAP. I'm gonna prove myself, raise my stock, and then try to go pro. I think
Good
that's
point.
always been his
Good
goal.
point.
Diba? That's always been his goal since high school.
Good point. Yeah.
I'm not gonna play college ball. I'm gonna go straight to the pro. Uh, Earn money yung while I'm young, while I'm in my prime basketball years. So if that were the question, I would have picked Francis Lopez. But if since the question is who is most likely to get recruited, yung tama si Maui, I think it has to be KQ. I think if you're a foreign scout, a foreign team, or any other pro team, you look at these two players and you'll see two very different players. One is KQ, who relies a lot on basketball IQ, who relies a lot on who has more polished skills, as Maui mentioned, and I think has shown leaps and bounds in development in just 3 seasons in the UAP. I think he's ready to go pro. There's still some level of development that has to happen for him, but I think with the expansion of his game, he's definitely more pro ready than Francis Lopez. Francis Lopez, I think, still needs more development, individual player development, and I think staying a year or two more in UP, as much as it hurts me to say that, I think that will be beneficial for Francis Lopez. Sasabi ka ng mga UP fans natin na nagko-comment, no, the development under Coach Gold and under Coach Gold's staff has been pretty good for their players. And I think Francis Lopez staying there would do good for his development. Because honestly now, offensively and defensively, he relies a lot on his athleticism. And he's a lot more athletic than the entire field in the UAAP. And that's what gets him by.
Yes.
It's not because he's crafty or he's smarter or he his yung skills wise is leaps and bounds away from the competition. No, he's because he's a lot more athletic than the rest of the competition. That's the reason he gets by and he gets to go to the line. He gets these easy buckets at the rim. KQ, whole different monster, just outmaneuvers everyone else. Outsmarts everyone, gets teammates involved, is the hub of the offense. So yeah, yung tama si Maui, more polished na si KQ, I think he's pro ready. Francis Lopez, despite his desire to go abroad, I think it would benefit him to perhaps stay a year or two more in UP to develop his game.
Definitely.
Yeah. Good point, Gab. Tama ka, no? If we answer the question exactly, more likely to get recruited abroad next year, really has to be KQ. He's ready. Maui, sabi mo, he is currently the MVP leader by a huge margin. So that's really a sign na KQ is ready. Francis Lopez, I think matutuwa yung UP community. Better for him to just stay a few more years, at least another year at UP. We've seen the development of the other players in UP, Jerry Apadiano, for example. Even Carl Tamayo stayed in UP for at least 2 years to grow and develop and work on his skills. So I think Francis Lopez definitely will be recruited hard
It
by
would not
other,
surprise me though if he leaves. That's one thing.
if there's an opportunity.
He may not be recruited, but it would not surprise me if he leaves. Again, that's been his goal since he was in high
Right.
school.
Yeah,
To
good
go
point.
pro.
Good point. And that's why I asked this question. Is because this wasn't really a plan of Francis Lopez to join the UAAP in college, diba? This was sort of like what eventually happened to him. But the answer to answer this question has to be KQ. Okay, let's do a bonus question. Let's do a fun one. Big man, you would rather let's end it with this. Big man, you would rather have Gio Chu or Mo Fati? Let's start with you, Gab.
Holy, oh my God.
It has come to this. It has come to this, man.
Pili ka.
After
Pili
all
ka.
the
Hindi ko
praises,
makatigil
Gio.
mo tumawa. Ang sakit. Hindi ko kaya piliin. Sino ba?
Okay, by the way, before you answer, Gab, para may time kang pumili. This was inspired by a comment of one of our subscribers, no? So, he mentioned something similar. If parang if FU has
I think his handle is Jeffrey Timtimbang. I think if I remember correctly,
okay,
that's
if
his
we
handle. So
remember correctly.
shout out to you, Jeffrey, for
Sabi niya, if FU has
inspiring this
Mo
question.
Fati, Ateneo has Gio Chu. So, big man, you'd rather have Gio Chu or Mo Fati?
Oh my God. If I were building a team, honestly, I rather have Gio Chu. Yeah, and here's my rationale for this. Baka sabihin ng tao, what talaga? Si Gio Chu over Mo Fati? No, because Mo Fati is an FSA and you can only have one per team.
Strategic si Gab, strategic.
Yeah, so as a teacher, you can only have one per team. And if Mo
But
Fati is your FSA, I think you're done for. As FEU has shown this season, you're done for 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 the entire season if Mo Fati is your FSA. Gio Chu is quote unquote a local, so Filipino. So you can have other options aside from Gio Chu. Like for example, if you were playing in UP, he would probably be the fourth or fifth center on the team, diba? You don't have to play him, but he's there. So that's my reasoning. Both are not good choices, but that's my reasoning. I'll pick Gio Chu. I
to
love
be
you,
fair kay
Gio.
Mo Fati, I think he played well against Ateneo nung last game nila, no?
He played well against
Uh,
Gio Chu, you
Gio
mean?
he
Chu.
played
It's
well against Gio Chu. Yeah.
only Gio
Yeah, you
Chu,
have
di
to be
ba?
fair to
Only
Mo
Gio
Fati.
Chu can make Mukfati look good. I would have to have the same sentiments with Gab. I think that's the only way you can slice it and look at it. Mo Fati is an FSA. You can have multiple local big men. You can only have one FSA for your UAAP team. So definitely, you have to have a better FSA than Mo Fati if you expect to contend in the UAAP. This is actually one of the reasons why we picked Kyle Ong also to be included as part of the big man ng Ateneo. I think Ateneo really has zero options on the front court. It has resulted to Coach Tab really running a lot of Balungay and Amos lineups, which, as we've mentioned, can also be detrimental to a team. I think si Francis Lopez exposed that. Si Francis
Yes.
Lopez exposed that lineup a lot nung yesterday. Si Malik Diop also took advantage. But yeah, if you were to ask me, then definitely you have to prioritize that FHA slot. You only have one option to you can't change during the season. It's not like you can allocate multiple players for that position, di ba? One lang eh. So yeah, definitely it's just unbelievable that it has come to this that we have to compare Gio Chu to Mo Fati. Gio Chu, you still have 5 games in the UAAP. Now's the time to turn your season around. Please don't end up just in MPBL. Kahit PBA man lang abutin natin. Do better, be more aggressive, stop doubting yourself. I think it really starts dun sa lack of self-confidence niya this season. Probably outside chatter has definitely destroyed any ounce of confidence that he built nung off-season. You still have 5 games, brother. Do good. We expected a lot from you. And we got the worst and the worst of the scenarios. Sorry to say.
And
Yeah.
just another thought on Gio Chu, no? I mean, if Gio Chu was going to play, if anyone knew that Gio Chu was going to play like this for the entire season, I think Ateneo and Coach Tab would have been better, like, putting Kobe de Mesana and just developing him, no, for this season. Kung ganyan lang din yung papakita ni Gio, so sana lang si Kobe na lang yung pinadala. And apparently, you're right actually, Maui. Apparently, he still has one more playing here. Gio. I don't know if that's a
Talaga?
good thing or not.
Then he has
Apparently, he
19
still
more
has...
games. 19 more games, not 5 games pala, Gab. No, but you know what? Some of the people I talk to, some of the alumni and basketball people I talk to, they mentioned Gio Chu lost a lot of weight this season. So maybe
He did. He's
yeah,
he's pretty slim.
yeah. So maybe he's adjusting also to that change in his physique. But he has to build confidence. I think number one. Those shot
It's
fakes,
not the
Gab.
physique, Maui eh. He's very tentative eh.
Yeah. I think
Yun
it's
yung
his
problem niya eh.
confidence being too tentative. Sabi nga nung iba, di ba? Bakit nung off-season, dunk na dunk si Gio Chu? What happened to that? Ngayon, it's the shot faking Gio Chu. But yeah, I still hope Gio Chu turns his career around. I think it's not every day we get big men that are willing to learn, that are willing to play for the national team, that are this big. I think pati yung shooting niya, his shooting mechanics, napansin ko last game really looks awful. I was hoping that much like Isaac Go, he would eventually develop a 3-point shot. But I don't think that's the case anymore. But 19 games,
Yeah.
not 5 games pala, Gab.
19 games.
19 games.
Actually, to be honest, yung sana 5 games na lang eh. Si Kobe na ipasok next season, pare. Kung ganyan lang din si Gio Chu ulit.
Maybe it's also byproduct of him not worrying to not play 0 minutes. Kasi di ba, wala namang ibang option. But I don't know.
Oo nga.
But
Oo
Gio
nga.
Chu has to wake
There's a lot
up.
of there's a
Sayang
lot of
potential.
pressure on Gio then. Yeah. Yeah, but I think just to answer this question, you guys are right. I think it has I'm picking Gio Chu. Ang galing yun, no? Hinanapan niya ng loophole yung question. I should have asked it a different way. Bad trip kayong dalawa. But I'm picking Gio Chu because I think Maui, you mentioned it. It's with Gio Chu, we've seen him play well. We've seen him play well. It's really the confidence yung parang nawala kay Gio Chu. So I'm going with Gio Chu because I know he has it in him. Kailangan lang niya ng confidence pa or to find his preseason form.
Kahit yung niya
Baliktad
sabi, di
no?
ba dati,
He
you
has
were
to find his
mentioning,
preseason form.
kahit
No.
yung niya, mean streak niya nawala, di ba, before you guys were mentioning may mean streak si Gio Chu.
True.
Di ba, it's not even here. Hindi na siya nanggugulang din. I mean, something's wrong.
Oh! Di ba yung in the preseason na he was blocking shots and he was throwing elbows, diving for loose balls. Sabi namin, yeah! Ganyan lang. Hindi mo kailangan mag-score ng 10 points or grab 20 rebounds, bro. Just play your role. Be a tough big man.
Saka diba,
stop shot faking.
Stop shot. Kahit dad ko, bad tip na him. I mean, there's also a reason that he started nung first few games ng Ateneo, di ba? I mean, Coach Tab doesn't start a player not expected to get minutes. That's never been the case all these years. It's just that I think his confidence is really shattered right now.
Okay. What a bonus question that was. Thank you for your answers, guys. To our fans, this is our last episode for the week. I hope you enjoyed that this weekend. We'll see if we'll be able to record. I think all three of us will be out of town this weekend. So we'll figure out kung magre-record tayo. Someone here is getting married. Si Gab's getting married this weekend. Maui's in Japan. So to our listeners, kung nasa Japan kayo, say hi to Maui. Share with us your answers on sa questions, diba? This or that. Share your answers in the comment section below. If you haven't yet, don't forget, subscribe. And by the way, we rarely mention this, but we are also on Spotify. So in case you want to listen to us during your walk or your morning workout, you can also listen to us to Spotify. Just search for us there.
I think they
Yeah.
know. I'm the
May
one
mga nakuha
who
tayong
looks at
subscribers. Yeah.
the Spotify page. We have a thought. We actually have a lot of. We don't have a lot. We actually have a bunch of people who listen to us on Spotify. So
Ako
that's
yung isa dun.
from Spotify. We don't get anything from Spotify. Just mentioning that, but we do it for your comfort because
Accessibility. Yeah, accessibility.
Yeah.
yeah.
Maraming
Please rate us.
nagre-request sa amin nun.
Please rate
Sige,
us also on
maraming
Spotify.
nagre-request.
We want to get feedback. Anytime we get feedback, we're happy.
Yeah, that's it for today. See you guys. Bye-bye.
See you.